To expect kids to come in already set and knowing how to regulate themselves without coaching them through that and giving them an opportunity to self-reflect, it's setting them up for failure. They get a chance to think and examine themselves, like, where am I today? How am I feeling? What do I need today? And then work on advocating for themselves and communicating that. It's part of their everyday system, and just having it in that one class helps them even in the other classes as well because they're mindful of it now.
You are now listening to the Lifelong Learning Defined podcast with your host, George Valenzuela.
This is education coach George Valenzuela. Welcome to the Lifelong Learning Defined podcast, where I provide all educators, whether instructional leaders or teachers, tips on how to be their best both personally and professionally. Now let's get into it. We're here today with an exceptional educator and content creator, my new friend, Rochelle Wilson. Rochelle is the founder of Mrs. Wilson's Classroom, where she empowers schools, students, and families for holistic development. I first connected with Rochelle online and became a big fan of her presence and message. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for that warm introduction. And man, I'm flattered. Thank you so much. I'm also a big fan of your work as well. Thank you for inviting me today.
I appreciate that. Rochelle, your work focuses on holistic development for kids. How do you integrate emotional intelligence skills into academic instruction to support the whole child?
In the classroom, I would always incorporate those skills to make sure that we started our day by setting our intentions. First, it would begin with a check-in, a small brief. How are you? How are you feeling? That would always guide the day in the conversations. When the kids would be honest and open about if they weren't feeling well, didn't have a good night of sleep, and just weren't their best self, not only would I know how to direct and lead the instructions for the day, but their classmates, their peers would know how to be gentle with them and want to be a part of helping them get what they needed for that day so they can get the most out of the lesson.
You know something? When I was a kid, we never had these check-ins. We were just very compliant. But in this day and age, it's a whole different story. My daughter, she's 23 years old, and a lot of people don't know this, but I just turned 50. Thank you. Many people don't believe me when I say that, but my daughter's 23. She's doing student teaching right now, and she graduates in May. She says if she doesn't start her day with that check-in and see how everyone is doing and they do their circle, she said all chaos breaks loose. So I love what you just said.
It sets the tone. It's a routine. They look forward to it. It's their way of kind of getting it out and checking their feelings at the door. To expect kids to come in already set and knowing how to regulate themselves without coaching them through that and giving them an opportunity to self-reflect, it's setting them up for failure. They get a chance to think and examine themselves, like, where am I today? How am I feeling? What do I need today? And then work on advocating for themselves and communicating that. It's part of their everyday system, and just having it in that one class helps them even in the other classes as well because they're mindful of it now.
I watch a lot of education consultants. That doesn't shine through in a lot of the content online. But everything you're saying right now, I see evidence of that in your videos, in your pictures, in your graphics, in your captions.
Well, I appreciate that. I want to be a beacon to say, like, hey, it took me a long time to get to this place. I didn't just arrive here overnight. I saw the issues in the classroom with the students. I saw that first year teacher. I was focused on, I want to get the scores. I want the kids to grow. I want them to learn, especially when they came in with deficiencies. That was my first focus. How can I get them on grade level? But then I noticed it's not just about academics. You can't make that the forefront, because if you don't reach them holistically, the last thing they're going to care about is academics. You look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They don't feel like they belong, if they don't feel wanted, if they don't feel cared about, if their basic needs aren't met. Caring about school, self-actualization, that's the last thing on their priority list.
Rochelle, you've authored Purpose Over Popularity. What inspired you to write this book, and how does it reflect your approach to education?
Well, as a sixth grade ELA teacher, and I'm sure you know, as a father, the hardest years are those middle school years. If you think back to when you were 12 years old, that's when everything changes for everybody.
I was a middle school teacher, so I could relate.
Oh, I see. And so, you know, that's like coming from elementary and going into junior high, that transition. They care less about what their parents say or trying to please their teachers even at that point. They're all about their friends, their peer relationships, and their parents' reactions. And in the social media age, it's big time because now they're on Instagram, they're on
Right,
TikTok,
right.
on all the social media platforms, engaging in a different way than how we engage with each other. We would
Mm-hmm.
go outside and go play. We would call each other on the phone or be in sports and activities. I saw kids getting bullied in a different way. They would take pictures and photos of each other, post it, and this is a digital footprint. This is something that everyone can see. This is not just within their unique cliques in the classroom. This is going out to everyone, and it's there for a long time. I had a young lady who was asked to share a picture of her body to a 10-year-old boy. It took about 24 hours for everyone in that school, including the adults, the administrators, the teachers, to see this video or in this picture of this young lady. Automatically, it's like, okay, you have a mother that's distraught, a father that's heartbroken. You have a young lady that is trying to get away from this image because she made a mistake, but it's not as easy as if someone hands you a photo and someone rips it up and destroys it. No, it's out there for everyone to see and continue to reproduce over and over and over, a constant reminder. So I wanted to teach them digital literacy, digital citizenship, understanding that when you post something on the internet, this is a representation of who you are. Are you representing yourself in a way that's true and authentic? Or are you sending out a message that you're this demonized character? Is this who you want people to believe that you are? So being true to themselves, posting things, if you're going to post wisely and post purposefully. If you want to be a leader and have followers, lead people in the right direction in the right way.
If you're watching this on YouTube or listening on Spotify or iTunes, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button and share this episode with your family, friends, and colleagues who are interested in self-improvement through lifelong learning. And now for a word from one of our sponsors.
We had the pleasure of listening to George this morning on project-based learning, and he shared his story that his aunt encouraged him to go into education. And she was absolutely right. He is so talented at sharing information in a way that is easy to digest and is inspiring to go back and actually implement and make change.
So my takeaway is that Mr. Valenzuela was very inspiring. He was very motivational and helped me to think about a new way of getting my teachers excited.
When I set out to do a workshop, my key deliverable is energy. And this momentum is used to make connections, inspire, educate, and ultimately transform the audience so that they're compelled to take that same energy back to their schools and communities. And although we have fun, we tackle the hard topics of today, like educational policy, pedagogy for improving curriculum and instruction, and empowering today's students by connecting our work to the needs of the workforce. So please consider lifelong learning defined for your next keynote, workshop, or conference, and overall instructional and educational coaching needs. My name is George, and I hope to connect with you soon.
We would love to have him come and do some work with us and help us be a little more successful and help our students to be more successful.
I can totally relate about peer pressure. It used to be back in the day, between the ages of 11 and 25, people would do what their friends want them to do. However, I've seen that age get older now. I can't quantify this. I don't have the data. But have you noticed some adults fall into peer pressure as well, and they want to go along with the crowd?
Yes, especially in the content creator world, in the content. You have people who will do anything for clout. And I call them clout chasers. Right now, a big thing is, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Bad Girls Club, because I grew up in the generation where that started, the Bad Girls Club. So now it's a lot of spinoffs, and it's this reality TV of baddies. We have adults, adult women, adult men that are instigating drama. They're not showing how to resolve conflict with emotional intelligence. They're on the internet a lot of times, posting it, trolling, harassing. This is a culture now. This isn't just something that affects teenagers. This is not something that just affects preteens. This is a huge problem with adults. You have leaders, political leaders, that are on Twitter or X or Blue Sky, and they're
Going
posting
hard. Yeah.
universal content
Yeah.
just to the reaction and they're promoting the drama in the exact same way you see in the classroom.
And what's interesting is I get a lot of people reach out to me about being on the show. They'll send me a video or they'll point me in the right direction. And a lot of times it's people I've never heard of. And when I go on the video, it may not be like the Bad Girls Club or the Bad Boys Club, but you can tell that they're trying to show off. There's an air about them like, I'm here to teach you something. I'm here to tell you what to do. When I clicked on your video months ago on Facebook and I left you your first comment, I saw the opposite of that. I saw someone that really cares about the audience. You're there pouring into them instead of looking for validation. Recently, I learned when you're invited somewhere to speak or to coach, you're not there for them to pour into you with validation, accolades, and all of that. You already have the accolades when they hire you. That's why they hired you. You're there to pour into them and to bring to them a shift in mindset, practice, and even beliefs. So I saw that in you very early on without even knowing you, which made me follow you. And we're here today. But as I look at other people, I'm not sure if they understood that yet.
It's funny you mentioned that. So I don't tell people this story often, but me becoming a content creator was really a social experiment that started with my students. I was trying to incentivize learning in the classroom, and what they loved the most was TikTok. I was very anti-TikTok. I said, okay, if I can get you to learn these vocabulary words and everyone in the class reaches an 80% on their next test, on their assessment, if I do a TikTok with you, would that kind of boost the morale and get everybody on board? And of course, they were like, because they knew I was anti-TikTok, they were like, yeah, we'll do it. Let's come on. You're going to make a TikTok with us. And it was the crazy, trendy dances. And I'm just like, I was not looking forward to it, but I was looking forward to them learning. Okay, this is what we're going to do. All right, we have our game plan in action. You're going to get 80% on the next test. I'm going to do this stupid TikTok with you and we're going to be jamming. From that TikTok I made with them, I saw something happen. I saw them engaging with me differently because they're like, oh, she's a cool teacher. But because this was so important to them and that video went viral, to them, they're like, oh, Mrs. Wilson, you're famous. You're famous. Like, we're going to do something because you believe that this viral video is like the epitome of being famous. To them, they've correlated the number of followers and likes to popularity. I want to show them there was a purpose behind this. I was intentional about this. I'm not living for this. I could care less about these people. I care about you. But if this is what's going to reach you and connect with you and get you to kind of reshape your mind, I want to do that. And I asked them a simple question. If you could have 1 million followers or $1 million, what would you choose? And half of the class chose 1 million followers. And I'm just like, why? Why do you care about that validation so much? And their justifications to me ranged from, you could have all of your followers give you $1 and then now you have your $1 million. You have endorsement deals and sponsorships.
I was thinking the same thing.
But I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to reach 1 million followers to show you, because I'm still showing up in the classroom every day. I'll show you my bank account. I'll show you my paycheck as a teacher. So you can see this doesn't change who I am. This doesn't change me in any way, shape, or form. I want you to see that at the end of the day, you could have all of those followers. And it was truly a social experiment, because I saw the followers that were engaging with that one video and going crazy and saying, post another video. And I felt like it was like a control thing, like putting me in this lane and saying, I want you to keep reproducing this content. It's just like, well, this isn't authentic to me. This isn't what I want to put out there. This isn't who I am. And I can handle that because I know who I am. I know what. Right. But a 10-year-old and an 11-year-old and even some adults out here, it puts you in this box. It limits you to this one dimension, and it controls the narrative of your life. And those people don't know you. None of these people know who you are or know anything about you other than what you put out there. And then it can turn on you like that.
I have so much to say about this. I don't want to say I'm not a fan of social media and content creation, because it's the future and the future is now.
Yes.
I never thought social media would play such an important part in entrepreneurship, and that content creation would be how you put yourself out there and how you stand out in the space. I didn't know that. So I would just post because I had to post, but never really post anything about myself. Just I'm at the workshop, I'm doing this, I'm promoting a book, whatever. But in 2025, I never thought everything would change to the point now an entrepreneur has to create content. And in order for it to go to who it needs to go to, it must be authentic. You must be commenting and posting on other content creators in your niche. I had no idea. So how do you feel now? Because when I go on your page and I see, if not every day, every other day, fresh content, fresh videos, it's all aligned with education, instruction, emotional intelligence. Your brand is your brand. You can tell from the questions I'm asking you that your brand is out there. I just put your website and your Instagram into ChatGPT, and I said, I need 8 questions that's on brand. That's going to create sound bites for reels, and boom. That's why I wasn't worried about you. Some people I send the questions to in advance, but I already knew you already had it. I never knew content creation would be such an important part of what we do. And so it's become important to me because it's now little snippets of my brand and offshoots into my work.
Branding, marketing, especially as an entrepreneur, you have to go out and get it. You have to show up. You have to show people that you're working. You have to show people that you're moving. You can't be stagnant on social media because you'll lose the momentum. That's key. Having that momentum, keeping that momentum, getting your message out that people want to hear you. They want to hear you before they hear you. They want to see what you're about before you show up. It is important. We have to be consistent. It's hard because it can be very draining. It can just take a toll on you physically.
Hey, can I tell you something?
Yes.
If you're watching this on YouTube or listening on Spotify or iTunes, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button and share this episode with your family, friends, and colleagues who are interested in self-improvement through lifelong learning. And now for a word from one of our sponsors. I move around a lot of schools and we're seeing a huge disconnect. We have a lot of teachers that have come from non-traditional pathways, especially in the past few years. Interactions, expectations is really the first step. All of my teachers, raise your right hand and please repeat after me. I promise that I will speak positivity into my students. All of my administrators, all my directors, all my principals, all my coordinators, raise your hands, please, your right hand, and repeat after me. I promise that I will speak positivity into my faculty and staff. Thank you. Hey, can I tell you something?
Yes.
There's some footage of me speaking from Maryland, and that was recent. But a lot of the footage that y'all seeing right now, I sat on that footage for a long time. Wow. Because I just didn't know, what do I do with this? You don't want to post the whole thing on YouTube. You get copycats and stuff like that. But once I found out that you can make these 60-second, 90-second reels, I was on it. But I didn't know what to do with it. You're right. I get hired now, and I ask them, hey, how did you hear about me? Well, so-and-so mentioned you, but we saw the videos. Wow, it's on point. That's what we want. So it does work.
It's your resume. It's your living resume. Instead of sending someone a paper resume, they want to see it. In this day and age, who don't you go look up on social media before you decide whether or not you like them or trust them? Right. You're going to go type their name in. You're going to go look at their work. At this point, you don't need to go to the FBI or the CIA. As long as you have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, you have everything you need right there. And the CIA and FBI use those social media platforms. That is what they use as well. We are oversharers. I don't know why, but we live in an oversharing society. Even as a content creator that's focused on business and professionalism, sometimes showing people the human side of you gives them an insight to your character and who you are as a person and lets them know whether or not they want to work with you. We want that balance. We want to make sure we're clean and professional and have our privacy. It's an invasion of privacy if you share your family all the time and every detail about your life. But at the same time, people look for that because they want to know who you are.
And I do that on Wednesdays.
You have a day. And that's right. It's like each day. Okay, you're going to get this day, this day, this day. And that's how we balance it out.
Rochelle, in today's digital age, how do you address the challenges of cyberbullying and promote digital literacy among students?
I tackle the challenge of cyberbullying by letting them know if you are watching it, if you're a part of it, everybody plays a role in those conflicts. So you have
Mm,
the bystander, you have the people that stand by and record with their phones when things happen in real time, in real life. You have instigators, you have people who are a part of the text messages, and they truly believe that they're not involved with the conflict, if they're not the two people that are arguing and fighting. I make sure I take the time to teach them and instruct them and give them the tools to overcome it.
mm,
I can't expect the kids to know how to overcome it without strategies, without working through those situations and doing some role playing. So there's times where we use real world scenarios, such as you get a group message and you have some friends that are disagreeing in a group message. How do you handle that situation? You have someone that's posting mean content about you on the internet. How do you handle that situation? What are your options? We tell kids, you have options. You don't have to respond to every conflict. You can either go to a trusted adult and let them know this is what's going on, and you're not sitting on that by yourself. If you feel confident enough to shoulder that and try to handle that on your own, approaching them with the right words and saying, hey, I'm not okay with this. Also, you can block people. It's okay to hit that block button, that unfollow button, and to leave those conversations. You don't have to continue to be a part of those conversations where someone else is being bullied, because it makes you just as guilty. We want you to know that the more you stand up for others, the more you say, I'm not okay with this, and don't engage with it, the less it becomes attractive and enticing for other people. Each kid can play a role in it. They can advocate for themselves. It may not be the most popular thing to do, to say, I don't want to be a part of this conversation, but you're protecting yourself and you could be protecting somebody else at the same time.
Rochelle, as an education consultant, what common challenges do you observe in schools, and how do you help educators overcome them?
A common challenge that I see in schools is I see a lot of teachers that are feeling burnt out. They are
Mm,
tired of wearing so many hats and trying to handle every situation with every child. They're trying to meet every need every day and pulled in every direction. I also see students who are struggling just to be there, be in the presence of school, and be focused on education, when at the end of the day, they have so many emotional things going on. They are anxious. They're depressed at times. They're feeling overwhelmed. They're worried about the next thing. And sometimes they're just hopeless about the future. The last thing they can think about is a reading assignment or a math problem, especially with the way math has turned in the last decade. They don't see their future, because the jobs that we have been trained as educators to prepare them for are going to be obsolete in a couple of years. Right now, if we take a pivot and start teaching them how to brand, even market, and how to use a lot of the skills that we've developed as entrepreneurs to set themselves in a position, because how many times have you heard a kid say their dream job is to be a YouTuber? That can be lucrative. So if you want to learn how to start a cooking show, or if you want to learn how to create content, teaching them those skills, bringing it into the classroom, bringing technology into a classroom that's preparing them for careers of the future. That's the content that I try to teach teachers. That's the coaching that I do in the classrooms.
Rochelle, looking ahead, what are your goals for Mrs. Wilson's classroom, and how do you envision its impact on education?
My goal for Mrs. Wilson's classroom is to help schools, parents, and students to transform the way they approach SEL and the way they're approaching preparing kids for the future. My goal is to prepare them with purpose.
Rochelle, let's put this up to God. How can people contact you to speak at your school, conference, or event?
Educators, contact me at mrswilsonsclassroom.com, as well as connect with me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Also, send me an email at rwilson@mrswilsonsclassroom, CLASSRM.com.
That's it for this episode. Until next time, this is the Lifelong Learning Defined podcast. Whether you're a teacher or administrator, you lead by walking alongside your students and your staff. You teach them what to do, you model for them. Let's say you're in a situation where you don't know what to do, and you bring in a coach or a resource, you learn alongside them. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Now, the second thing is this. Give your people feedback, not pushback. Whoever you push back on, whether physically or verbally, they're going to do it right back immediately. And if they're intimidated by our position, our status, they're going to do it behind our backs and ruin our programs. My guy. I want to leave you on this note. Trajectories can be changed. When I was in 10th grade, here's a snapshot of who I was in 10th grade. There's a rapper named Rakim. I'm not sure if you guys know about Rakim, but he used to say, it's not where you're from, it's where you at. And I played that on my headphones at 16 years old every day until I believed it. I'm showing you this because I'm seeing versions of this throughout American schools. This is your reality of what you have to face. If I can do it, any kid can do it, but they have to work hard. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Lifelong Learning Defined podcast with George Valenzuela.